Hello, this is Pinky, and this will be a tutorial on AV3 Emulator. As you may have noticed in my other videos, I use this emulator a lot. It helps with the development of avatars as well as the testing of them. It is an extremely useful tool, and in this video I'll show you some functions on how it works, and the most used functions that I use personally. So let's go. So first I will show you how to properly import the AV3 emulator. So the first step will be going over to VRChat.com, heading over to download, and making sure you download the newest SDK. I've already imported it, but what you would do is you'd download it, drag it in, and that's how you would go about it. The next step will be going over to AV3. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in downloading this. And down here, you'll click this, and you'll drag this package in like here. And you'll click import, and you'll be importing the AV3 emulator. Now to test that this properly worked, you go up here, you should see tools, and you should see this right here, enable AV3 emulator. You click that, and it will create this new object. Now, for this may spawn up here, for keepsake, I just like to put it above the avatar I'm testing, to keep it a little more organized. Now, the first thing I would like to show is that now when you press play, this emulator will take full control over your avatar. So as you can see now, this avatar is standing in the gesture based on defaults. So the first test we will do is we'll head over to the radial menu, we'll go to the expressions, and we can test the laydown that I've added to this avatar in a past video. And as you can see, you now properly can emulate VRChat inside your Unity. So I can change to anything here. I can go over here and mess with the slider, and as you can see, it's now moving. I can turn it back. I can change. I can, put this here, and I can click reset avatar. It'll reset it all. I can go here, play the music again, turn off visualizer, change the chest shape, etc., etc. So this will be your radial menu inside VRChat, except for it will be emulated inside of Unity. So with that out of the way, that condones our first part. Our next one will be the actual in-depth script. Now, this is basically the in-depth testing. Like if you want to test certain variables, if you want to test certain animations that you may not have made on the menu, you can do it all from here. So starting at the top, I don't really use these right here. I have not really touched any of these, but these would all be for like OSCC if you want to test certain things. Like say you added like a pullable leash. You would use this to test it. The same thing for here. There's like local network and syncing and stuff like that. Player model, mirror reflection. So you can test like Poyomi shaders, mirror only settings here. Now, the part that I will use the most here is the VRChat. So this allows me to test gestures. So certain ways like the different faces. And as you can see from the chest, it also will emulate anything that is linked to VRChat's variables. Now, the next is gestures. These are like the hand gestures, and along with that, any face gestures or emotions that you have linked with them. And this works for both hands, as you can see down here. The next is our locomotion. So we can test like running animations and such for our avatar. So setting this to 10, as you can see, it now puts our avatar in a sprint kind of way. And setting it back to 0, they go to normal. You can also test your laydown. So laying down as a crouch, and then lay down as a prone. And you can also test velocities here. So like this would be the crawl animation. Now, we have grounded, and if we unselect this, this will be what our avatar looks like midair. So this is if you're jumping or falling. You can use this to test that. You could also do the same for jumping. So this will be just a quick puts it up and then puts it down kind of a test. And it will select grounded again after it's done. You can also do jump power and run speed. These are for interacting with your Y variable in quick amounts inside the animator. It's more in-depth if you understand that. There's seated. You can test what your seating animation is. You can test what your AFK animation is. You can test what your T-pose is and your IK configuration. So this is when you're testing and equipping full body tracking. This is what it will show up when you try to link your trackers. The next is testing VR mode. So certain avatars will have the ability to change the certain settings. So say you have a menu that will pop up if you're in desktop, but if you're in VR, it'll show up on your wrist. So you can test that with this. You can test the mute self variable. So this is like, you have like a little icon that shows up that shows that you're muted, but you want to test that inside of Unity. You would use this. Is station, this is another variable. This will basically check if you're seated at like a seat or something, and then this variable will be set true. You can check is local, you can check locomotion disabled, and there's also just more in-depth IK tracking. Next is the in-depth user-generated inputs. So this will be every single float, int, and bool that is attached to your avatar. If you want to see what these are, simply go over to your avatar, scroll down, go to parameters, and open up this, and this will be everything from here, and it'll also be everything from inside your animator parameters. These will be different from every avatar, so you'll have more or less here depending on what your avatar has. So this allows us to customize them without using a menu. So say we wanted to test the chest plate, but we didn't want to have to open up the menu to test it. So we would go back down here, we would change this expression value here, and as you can see, the chest plate now changes. This also works for bowls, so you can go over here to the hand swap bowl, and you can make it positive, and now as you can see, the hands now become pause. And you can do the same to change it back. And there's, a few more, but it's basically the same. There's bowls, ints, and floats, and each of them do something different. Anyways, that was just a quick tutorial on how AV3 works. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.